Okay, so you guys can hear me okay? Great. All right, so I'm going to be talking about SUSE and developer platforms. Obviously, this is the OpenChoreo track. First of all, a little about me. My name is Jay Howell. I'm a developer problem solver. I've worked at UPS, FedEx. I was at Red Hat for 19 years before I made the jump over to SUSE about 4 months ago. And so I have been doing development since '92, and I've been doing Kubernetes since 2014 with Red Hat and Google. It's been a wild ride, and now I guess if I keep working long enough, I won't have a job. I hear the news tells me that developers are going away. I don't think that's true, but hey. So I am excited to see what's next. I am a baker. I do want to say that right there. That's my wife and I. In a baking class. So yeah, I do like to bake and cook. Okay, a little bit about SUSE. SUSE was founded in 1992. And if you haven't heard about SUSE, it's because we've been across the pond. We started in Europe, and we were actually about 6 months ahead of Red Hat in doing Linux and pushing out a commercial Linux. So the first thing I get when I talk to people, I'm like, do you know SUSE? They're like, oh yeah, I did SUSE in college. Well, the only problem with that statement is they're usually about 55. And so it was a long time ago, right? So I try to tell people now, it's like, okay, we're a blossoming company, still blossoming. We now have about 2,750 employees. Revenue's still there. We are doing some amazing things. This is our stack. This is what we do. We are doing AI, Edge. Edge is a big one that we're piling into at this point, industrial edge to be specific. We have Rancher Prime. I hope people are familiar with Rancher. Rancher is it is the manager that sits over top of all your kube clusters and helps you manage your fleet of Kubernetes clusters. Underneath that, I'll go ahead and give a shout out. We do support 2 different flavors of Kubernetes. We support RKE2 and we support K3s. They're both CNCF projects, but RKE2 is hardened. We hardened it with the U.S. government. So it's FIPS compliant, and it's made for enterprise workloads. Down below, we have Multi-Linux Manager, and I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out for this. So coming out of Red Hat, what I never knew was that SUSE can support Red Hat Enterprise Linux. I didn't know that. Support it in place for about half the price too. So the funny part is, coming out of Red Hat, what I got from customers is, I really want you to support Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5. And Red Hat's like, no, we're not doing that. That was years ago. I come to SUSE. SUSE is supporting customers on EL5. So we do this in cooperation with our partner, Oracle, right? And we have a lot of other companies that put out an EL product that is binarily, I'm going to say more than binarily compatible with Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So Multi-Linux Manager, if you want to know, it's like Satellite, except manages multi-Linux systems. I think we're up to like 15, 16. If you've got a distro, we can manage it. Okay, so last slide on my plug for SUSE. What I want to talk about is we acquired Losant in 2026. We are still growing. We bought a security company, we bought Stack State for observability, and now we're doing industrial edge. What that means is we can now control things at the tiny edge. And what I mean by tiny edge, I'm talking sensors, I'm talking different processes. Mainly, we're talking factories. So what Losant does is it allows you to design with low code. It allows you to design workflows so you can do things in your factory. You can design your entire factory workflow with it, sensors, different elements, and control them. Okay, if you walk out of here today, the one thing I want you to know about SUSE is we are about choice. Everything we do is about choice. We support 2 Kubernetes, right? And everything we do is about choice. We do not want to repeat I'm not going to say the company's name, but we don't want to repeat a virtualization company that might lock folks into their solution and charge a lot of money for it. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We want to make sure that you have choice. You need to have choice in your Kubernetes, your operating system, everything you do. You need to have choice. Because that's how you can make sure that you're financially solvent and you're not overpaying for your software. Okay. We're going to talk about why platform engineering matters and what happens if you don't do it. So I have a little joke here. I don't know if it's going to land or not. So 3 engineers walk into a bar, a conference room, and they ask for a database. And so 4 epics later, 4 Jira epics, and 8 snow tickets, and a security review, and then 2 weeks later, they're still looking for a database. So that is what we don't want, right? We want people to be able to, go through. We want to automate as much as possible. We still want to keep humans in the middle somewhere, but we want to make sure that we automate as much as possible. And as you notice, I've worked with small developer teams, and as developer teams grow, it gets more complex, especially if you have, I'm a developer, I can talk about them. So every developer wants their build process, their tools exactly the way they want them. And, I used to be a proponent of that when I was a bit younger, and now I'm like, no, here's the tool set you're using, and this is it. Because the complexity in multiple tool sets gets crazy bad, right? And the troubleshooting you have to go through. I saw a presentation about a month and a half ago that said that developers during their work, they only do 17% of their time is done for coding. Everything else is dealing with their environment, the rollouts, all kinds of issues, trying to get a database. So this complexity gets worse. And it has real business cost. So, not to mention increased costs. I have seen VPs throw a project, okay, and it's not moving fast enough, and they keep throwing developers at a project. And then at some point, the whole thing falls down, and they're like, well, we threw a lot of developers at it. Well, you did, but you didn't coordinate the developers. Slower time to market, lower agility, higher risk, developer dissatisfaction. And I'm going to tell you, I have left companies because they were so disorganized. And it was just not pleasant to code there. So you're going to lose your really good developers as well. What it really means for your business: higher total cost of ownership, lost productivity, missed opportunities, talent drain, which I just mentioned, and lower growth. With platform engineering, you have self-service at scale. Platform engineering, the whole aim is to eliminate developer friction. The whole idea is to make sure that things are being done in a consistent way, and you're removing roadblocks, you're not adding them. So platform engineering, when you go through this process, usually you have a self-service portal, and I'm going to say that is the big deal. Self-service is everything, and developers need to be able to self-service. Golden paths, automated CI/CD, security and governance is built in, and observability insights. Okay, I heard earlier today we kind of danced around the idea of test code coverage. I'm going to say in order to do this, you need to have an amazing set of automated tests. You need to be able to, a developer needs to be able to check in a feature, it builds, it runs through all the tests, and you need to be able to deploy it in an hour. With security and with everything moving today, if you're not building your images at least once every 2 days, you're really probably not doing things right. From a security standpoint, you have definitely got to pick up all the security fixes, build your containers at least once every couple days. Once a week, once a month, bad. So this is what platform engineering does. And it has to be a first-class citizen inside of your company. First of all, your platform engineering department needs to be able to make decisions and make them stick, right? And they need to be able to say, hear you, developer. I hear you want this and this and this. How about we do this? And when they make a decision, it needs to be able to stick. So they need to get VP buy-in. That was the last session that we had in here. I asked that, how do you get that VP buy-in? Because a lot of VPs, they're worried about their VMware cost, their cloud cost. They're worried about what data center they're going into. They're worried about the costs that are in their face. They're not really worried about developer costs because it's just not in their face. So here are some of the challenges for platform engineering. And I've seen people stumble over this. Too many tools, fragmented workflows, really poor developer experience, consistent security and compliance, siloed teams, slow provisioning. And this is where a platform engineering team needs to be able to make decisions, and they need to be able to enforce decisions and say, look, this is how we're going to run things. Developer teams can't. I'm a developer. I would love to have my own stuff. Developers can't have all of their own stuff. Now, what it means, though, is the platform engineering team, the developers are their customer. So they need to make sure they're working for the developers and knocking things out of the way, but they also need to be able to enforce consistency. I think I heard that in the last presentation as well. Okay, so there's two clear answers here. Build a DevX group or platform engineering group. DevX is kind of a specialized platform engineering group. Build a platform engineering group and adopt a common tool chain. I'm going to say OpenChoreo through WSO2 and Rancher Prime are great. You end up with a developer tool set, and you end up with a platform that you can deploy it on. Now, I'm going to say that, yes, there is, what this does is this combination of Rancher and OpenChoreo, it directly competes with Red Hat DevHub, right? And Red Hat DevHub, it's based off of Backstage as well. But between OpenChoreo and Rancher Prime, the two separations, OpenChoreo specifically for developers and Rancher Prime specifically for infrastructure, works very well together. Oh, let me flip back to that. Two answers, one goal, simplify complexity. That's the thing. Developers do not want to know Kubernetes. This is one of the things I see that fail too, is they say, okay, developers, you now have self-serve. Welcome to Kubernetes, right? And I don't know how many Kubernetes engineers I have in here. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you, Kubernetes is complex. It's kind of complex because it kind of has to be. But developers don't want that. They want a self-service portal. They want somewhere they can go. All they want to do is build code. And they want to build it fast, right? And yes, they want to skip steps, and they don't want to design, and they just, tell me what it needs to do, and let me go and create, right? So that's what developers want to do. OpenChoreo gives them that. So on this, pick a single developer platform. OpenChoreo is a developer platform for Kubernetes. It offers development. I'm going to say the only thing I think that's maybe missing in OpenChoreo is an IDE for developers, like Eclipse or something that runs inside Kubernetes. It's everything else is fantastic on it, but your developers need a sandbox. I see a lot of developers and a lot of VPs that what they'll do is they'll do a VDE. They'll do virtual desktop environments for their developers because they want to keep them in a sandbox. They want to keep all the tools constrained, but they have virtualization and they kind of want to go the virtualization route. I'm going to say I don't like that route. I like the route better of having developer in a box. Developer in a box is something like Rancher, OpenChoreo, and then an IDE. Your developers don't need to go anywhere for anything else. OpenChoreo advertises all the services that you need. You can deploy everything you need in OpenChoreo. You can deploy it on whatever platforms you need it on with Rancher Prime. So developer in a box. Okay, so this is what the entire thing looks like. I deployed this this week, and I deployed all 4 planes on RKE2 running in AWS. And I'll say it was pretty great. There's a lot of steps, but the only thing I really ran into is that OpenChoreo, when you install it, it requires if you're a Kubernetes person, it does services with load balancers. So you have to have something like like Metal, or you have to have something that's going to actually take a load balancer and do it. I installed the Amazon, what is that? So it's the Amazon piece of software that basically will automatically create a load balancer for you inside Amazon. Now, I'm going to say that it was a little expensive because it created 4 load balancers, one for each data plane. Okay, but it worked great. And I have it up and working, and it's building stuff today. Okay, here are the ways to run OpenChoreo if you don't know. Run with Docker local. You can get this up and running in 10 minutes. There's a quick start. If you've never run it before, try it. It really is super slick. There's a couple of examples built in. The second thing is run it in your RKE2 cluster, and that's what I did. I did not put the name on here, but you can also run this in a SaaS. WSO2 actually offers this in the cloud as a cloud instance, and all of this other stuff that I told you about, creating load balancers and stuff, you don't have to worry about it. You just run it as SaaS in the cloud. And the next thing that you can also do is Rancher Desktop. I'm also going to give another shameless plug for SUSE here. We have something called Rancher Desktop. What Rancher Desktop is, it's a desktop, runs Windows, runs Linux, and you can spin up a small cluster really fast. And you don't really know you're spinning up a cluster, so you can run this with Rancher Desktop as well. You can install Helm charts with it. It's got a bunch of prefab. We'll see a screenshot here in a minute. But my goal is to get OpenChoreo in Rancher Desktop. It's not there yet. So here's what I was telling you. Here's what it will look like. So inside Rancher Desktop, you will see an OpenChoreo installer, and you'll be able to click install, and it will run in Rancher Desktop automatically. So I'm going to work on that. We're probably maybe a month or 2 out from that. The next thing is partner software in Rancher Prime. Here is, I installed the Helm charts for each one of the control planes. You can see the charts are up there. There are a few other pieces that need to be installed along with this, but my colleague over there just told me he just did a single Helm chart for all of OpenChoreo. So we're going to see if we can actually get that one Helm chart in here, and we can install it in Rancher right away. Okay, for now, use the OpenChoreo install guide. There's a lot of steps, but it's commands. You just run through the commands. It works great. Okay, the formula for platform engineering success. First, start with a developer experience team or platform engineering team. Make sure you get buy-in, okay, from VPs. Make sure they can spend money. They have a budget. Make sure they can make decisions, and make sure they're tied in with developers. It usually helps if you have developers that that kind of move on to that team, and they're helping other developers. The next thing is OpenChoreo developer platform. Make sure you have a self-service portal so developers don't have to deal with Kubernetes. They don't have to deal with environments. All they have to deal with is their code and this one portal, right? And say, look, this is all you have to. Okay, I'm going to give another plug. OpenChoreo, I really like Backstage. The decision to use Backstage is pretty amazing, because Backstage has, I'm going to say, literally hundreds of plugins written for Backstage. And you can use all of them in OpenChoreo, and you can also use the ones that Red Hat wrote if you'd like, but because they're all upstream as well. Okay, so there are so many plugins. Anything that you want to do in OpenChoreo, I bet it's already been written. And then SUSE Rancher Prime, it is Kubernetes at scale. It helps you manage all of your Kubernetes. Faster software delivery, that's what we want. We want a big rocket ship. Okay, so everybody's like, okay, so I feel cheated. There's no AI in my presentation. I don't think I've seen a presentation in the last couple of days that didn't have some kind of AI in it. All right, so here is what the agentic platform for OpenChoreo and Rancher Prime looks like. Rancher Prime now has something called the AI crew. And what we've done is we've wrapped an agent around each one of our processes inside of Rancher. And so we have an observability agent, security agent, deployment agent, provisioning agent, fleet agent, Linux agent. So, and then the same thing with OpenChoreo. OpenChoreo, they have agents as well. the developer experience agent, the GitOps agent, the CI/CD agent. And I actually saw on a slide that was on, 2 presentations ago, that there was a couple more agents that they added that I didn't even know about. So, so this is how it worked together. What you'll do is you'll register these agents all together inside of Claude, whatever you want to use for your LLM, and developers will say, please do this, and between the two, they will talk and they will provision an infrastructure, build your projects, handle whatever you need, troubleshooting. If you've deployed something and it breaks, when you're in deployment and and they say, developer, come over here and help me. Developer can come over and say, hey, look, can you go out on this production site and tell me what's wrong, comb the logs, figure out what's wrong, and tell me how I can change my code to fix it. Okay, that is here. That's not future. I mean, that is absolutely here. So I do expect to see, I wish I'd had a little more time because I would have done this, but this is something that can easily be done. We stitch all of this together in an interface called Liz. I am probably going to get in trouble for my brain for this. Hopefully they'll be okay with it. But yeah, so Liz is our front end that works together with all the different agents, and you can ask it things. So without further ado.
Today, I want to show you something new. Something that changes the way we work with our clusters. Meet Liz, the AI assistant built right into Rancher. It helps you understand, troubleshoot, and even fix what's happening in your environment, faster than ever before. Once you enable the Rancher AI extension, Liz becomes part of your workspace. It lives inside the interface, ready to assist when things get complex. No extra setup, no hidden tricks. Just there, part of Rancher, part of your daily flow. You can connect Liz to different AI engines, local or cloud, depending on what your organization allows. Whether you use an offline setup or public models like ChatGPT or Gemini, Liz adapts to your environment. The goal isn't to replace knowledge. It's to extend it, to help you reason through your systems, not just read them. Now, let's look at it in action. On the surface, this looks like a normal deployment details page. But look closer. Up there in the corner, there's a small new icon. That's Liz. Wherever you see the symbol, you can ask for help, guidance, or context. Hover over it, and you'll see what can be explored. Liz recognizes the page you're on, the resource, the namespace, the type of issue, and gives you a way to start the right conversation. These are contextual entry points. They turn every element of Rancher into something you can talk about. Not sure what an error message means? Click the icon and ask. Wondering what replica set or unavailable deployment actually implies? Ask Liz. It doesn't just reply with definitions. It helps you understand what's behind it, how it behaves, what to check, and how to fix it. Let's open the main window. When you start, Liz greets you by name and reminds you that it's context-aware. Whatever you're viewing, a cluster, a namespace, or a single deployment, becomes part of the conversation. That's how Liz keeps answers relevant. Liz even suggests what you might want to do next. From inspecting certificates in a namespace to checking a deployment's health, the assistant offers starting points you can build on. You can switch models, adjust depth, or reset your session anytime. But what really matters here is what Liz does in real-world moments. Imagine you're a new platform engineer, staring at a deployment you didn't create. You need to understand what's going on before touching anything critical. Instead of searching docs or bothering teammates, you simply ask, what's a replica set and why does it matter here? And Liz explains in plain language with clear actions and related links. Each answer is generated within the context of your live environment. That means you're not getting random information. You're getting insight that fits your situation. Now let's move to something a bit more advanced. Say you want to find out which deployments in your cluster are currently unavailable. Instead of scrolling through endless lists, you ask Liz. It checks for you. Within seconds, it responds. All deployments are available except for test in the default namespace. Replica set timed out. That's not just a message. It's awareness. Liz sees what's happening. describes it, and even suggests how to approach the fix. You can click straight into that deployment, hover over the warning, and ask Liz what it means. The assistant gives you a breakdown, how to troubleshoot it step by step, what could have caused it, and what to check next. This is where Liz really shows value. It turns troubleshooting into mentoring. Every answer is not only a fix, it's a lesson. The next time it happens, you already know what to do. And that's the deeper idea behind Rancher AI Assistant. It's not about automation for automation's sake. It's about enabling every engineer, from new joiners to seasoned SREs, to learn faster, act smarter, and keep systems more reliable. Liz remembers the context of your session, but doesn't store private data. It reminds you to verify responses and never share sensitive information. That balance of safety and intelligence is core to the design. You can resend messages, copy insights, or view the reasoning process. We'll keep adding features, from summarizing namespaces to interactive recommendations and guided remediations. But even at this first stage, Liz already makes Rancher feel alive. It turns static information into an ongoing conversation between you and your systems. So that's Liz, a new kind of assistant for the platform world, smart enough to guide.
Okay, so I want to say, first of all, from an AI, is there anybody here that's under 30 in here? Anybody? Okay, so I'm going to tell you, so my son is 24, okay, and I'm going to tell you, when I see people use, so I heard somebody say, everybody over, and I'm going to skip between 30 and 40. I'm going to say everybody over 40 uses AI like Google, right? Because that's what they're used to. And when you think about, I want to do something, you're already thinking in your head, I want to do this step, I want to do this step, I want to do this step, I want to do this step. You've already formed it. And so when you go there, you're saying, hey, what is this? Kind of like what you saw with Liz, like, what's a replica set? What do I do with this? How do I do this? What, and you're going down, and people under 30, I've watched my son use ChatGPT and Claude and a couple different things, and what he's describing is way different. He's describing an outcome, okay? Instead of already saying, okay, this is the outcome I want, here's the steps I'm going to need to do to go through it, right? He doesn't even think about that. He's describing an outcome, and it just happens. And he didn't really think about how he might do it. I mean, that's scary a little bit, right? But I'm going to say that people under 30 are definitely using AI in a different way. And from an agentic standpoint, this is going to be great going forward. I don't know if anybody watched Idiocity, the movie Idiocity, but I'm going to say that I'm a little afraid for the future, but it's going to be a great future because people will be able to focus on the things that matter to them, which is business, getting things out the door, agility. Developers can develop code. People are going to focus on the things that matter. Thank you for watching.